Welcome to the clinical cookout. You know you need it, it's kinda scary, but mental health is necessary. Four educated queens taking the lead, hold their hands and they'll help you succeed. Lay your head back, relax, just like that. Now listen to, learn, and your problems will burn away. Cookout, you know, we got just what you need. At the cookout, your heart and mind we will be. At the cookout.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. We are qualified clinicians who will cover various topics on mental health and will sometimes provide community resources. We are not being paid by any organization for our content, and any information we provide is general and pertains to our own personal experiences. We do not provide psychotherapy, diagnoses, or treatment recommendations on air. Any concerns related to your individual mental health should be directed to your medical and mental health professionals. We are not responsible for others' decisions or the subsequent consequences.
Welcome back to the Clinical Cookout, y'all. So today we have a very special episode for y'all. Joining us are four very special guests, the guys. So we know y'all really enjoyed the guys on the relationship episode in season 2, so we brought them back this time. However, they recorded on their own, which means no female influence whatsoever. Today's episode is a mixture of women's and men's perspectives on finding a boo. It's time for the cookout. Let's go.
Welcome to the Clinical Cookout. I'm Abe.
And I'm Marcus.
And we are the uncles of the Clinical Cookout. One thing I wanted to point out to y'all is this wasn't planned, but we had to represent our NFL teams. Let's show them what it is.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Command. Let's take command all day. Let's get it.
All right, now, down to business. We're going to get to it. So today, we're going to try to give y'all the male perspective on finding your boo, finding your loved one, finding your wife, whatever you want to call it. We're going to break that down from the male's perspective and give you a different outlook, because we know y'all been hearing from the aunties this whole time. You got to get that male perspective to get it right.
Our hot sauce is when we talk about trending topics and we relate them to mental health. Let's get it. Welcome back to the Clinical Cookout. Today we're going to talk about how to find your boo. But one question we got to ask you is, when you do find your boo, do you cut friends off at boo's request for one reason or another?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
I am curious as to why Empress said yes. Very
yes. It depends on the situation.
You gotta answer the question: are they legit friends? Yeah. Are they legit friends, or are they old girlfriends, old little squeezes that you had? Hey, so look, Fergus, we're gonna go with legit friends on this one, though. All right.
Give me one. You had sex with your friend. If I had sex with a friend that I still call a friend, and my partner was like, "Nah, I ain't having that. You're gonna have to cut them off," I would do it.
Well, when people you have sex with are not your friends.
Exactly. I was about to say, once you done cross that sex line,
friends with somebody you had sex with, that's another hot sauce. We're putting that on the list for later, but you can. We're gonna put that on the list for later. But for now, I'm saying that would be a situation where I would. Absolutely.
And see, that's why you can't be friends with that person. Because if I gotta cut you off soon as I get in a relationship, then we had sex and it ruined the friendship. Anyway.
Sex doesn't always ruin a friendship. Do we need to change our hot sauce?
We might need to. We might need
to. That's only if your partner asks you to. Some people would be like, you had sex with him, you ain't gonna do it again, right? Okay, cool. Like, and then some people are like, no, I'm not having that.
Legit female friends, then I would say absolutely not. Now, I would want my spouse to also be friends with them. I think my spouse is dope. I think your friends are dope. I think y'all should be dope too together, because I'm not cutting. I don't think that it's even fair to ask somebody to cut off a legitimate friend.
I absolutely wouldn't cut a friend off, because do you trust me? Why are you asking me to cut this person off? For what? Unless they have harmed you in some way, I can't think of one valid reason to cut off a long-term friend because now I'm in a relationship.
I would have to say, if we're legitimate good friends, I shouldn't have to cut that off. Right? I shouldn't. This has been my friend. You've met them. Y'all hung out together. We've done a outing. I should have to cut my friend off. Now, if there was history, right? Yes, then there's some distance. You need to make sure those boundaries are clear. But if this is my friend who's been there since day one, who's helped me through some of my darkest times, whatever, then no, I'm not gonna cut that person off because there was no history there. Like this is a friend. So it depends on the situation. It also depends on the person, right? Because men and women think differently, but if it's a friend, no, I'm not gonna cut my friend off because that's like a support for me. Like that's someone who I can vent to and vice versa.
I have never asked anybody to cut off anybody. First of all, I don't think it's your job to tell other people who should be in their lives. Like, what makes that your job? Because I decided that I love you. I can't have certain friends. So then that goes back into trust. Do you trust me enough to have certain friends and not cross the sexual boundaries? And I ain't talking about nobody I've had sex with before because them ain't my friends. But somebody, because I might do it again. But I don't think it's my job to tell you who you should be talking to in this lifetime, and I didn't birth you.
Oh, this is a dicey one. I would say if it was really important to your spouse or significant other, I probably would do it, but it might almost be begrudgingly, like, I don't know if I want to cut this one off, but you said it was a legit friend. And the way I feel about it is you never know folks' motives and intentions, man. They say they're a friend and then they could be waiting for you to slip and fall so they could swoop in and snatch them up. Because Ludacris had a song. Ludacris had a song said, "You dropped a dime and I picked it up." So you never know, man. Some of these folks got motives. If they're a legit friend, I can understand keeping them around and stuff like that. But it's just if you had any previous relations with this person, I think that's gonna complicate things because they could legitimately be waiting for you to, hey man, me and my wife had it out. Yo, what's going on? Can I come over there? Yeah, you can come over. I'm vulnerable.
Maybe I come from a different planet because I'm friends with all the people that I've been with and I've been in relationships. I go on vacation with the people that I've been with before while in a relationship. I just don't care.
But does that person that you're in a relationship with, will they know that you slept with the friends that you're on?
Should I do the absolute most? I have had a man I was in a relationship with. He needed his trees cut down. I called the man I used to sleep with to come over and cut them trees down. And it was all laying around cutting them trees down. I wasn't cutting off nobody that I was with. I was with somebody.
What if your man said, you slept with him? Cut him off.
I would be like, well, that person I'm not like friends with, like, but I was cool with him. I don't want to say friendship. We was just cool. There wasn't no beef. And if he'd have said that, I'm like, all right, like, okay, like, what's going on? I'm like, this is just a person who you ask for a service, and here you go. But if you want to find somebody else that you feel like could do the job, then okay, then I'll leave it at that. But if it's like cutting off like my best friend and my brother, absolutely not. And they do the same thing with their girlfriends, and they're, when one of them's married, they said that they told them right up front, like, this is my sister, this is my best friend, and that's just what it is. Like, you either gonna be on the train or you're not.
For me, man, like I always bring up when I was in school because that's when I had more female friends. For me, I had a lot of female friends, and I ain't touch them. You feel me? And then, like, ultimately, I know some of my female friends before I even met my wife. Right? We talking personal experiences right now. I might get in trouble for this, but you know what? Fuck it. You know what I mean? Ultimately, she met some of them. She ain't like some. She ain't like. So you know what I'm saying? She like, yo, you can cut her off. And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, cut her, like, I don't want you talking to her, Marcus. I'm like, damn. I'd be like, all right, you know what? It is what it is. And I, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, I ended up, cutting them off. That was very hard for me to do. You know what I mean? To cut somebody off that you've known so long, like longer than like the person that you love the most in this whole world, Yeah. But I do believe in that.
I am absolutely. I got some trust issues apparently because I would sure as hell tell you if I can't meet this friend and this friend texting you at 3 a.m. and you don't bring them around me, you gonna have to cut it off. Like I would say that. I know that might not be healthy, but yeah, I have asked people to do that in the past, but it's only certain situations, like the no boundaries, and then you like keeping this person away and not want to introduce them. That's something I would ask you to do. Or if you've had sex with them, for me, ain't no point in y'all. Like, why are y'all friends? From
Yeah,
my perspective. So
yeah. If I
I
can't
would.
meet you, if I can't
And
meet the
fine.
person, that's already a red flag. Why can't I meet this person that you so close to? Because I want to know who you close to. I want to get to know them too. And the whole brother sister thing, I think me and Suge done talked about this before. The whole that's my brother, that's my sister. I done accidentally slept with one of the ones that was my close brother. So count them.
But I really know how to have a brother outside of female friendships. I never was friends with a lot of females. I always were friends with men. But I grew up with my real brother. Like I'm talking about, we came from the same vagina brother. And so I just it wasn't a thing for me to hang out with dudes and for me to be like one of the dudes. But I think with some of them relationships, you think that they're your friends and they be wanting to bone too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I only have one male friend that's my true ride or die male friend. Neither of us ever liked each other. One out of my whole life.
Yeah. I mean, my two best friends are males. They have never once crossed the line. They literally make in front of me every chance they can. So I'm like their little sister. And so that's how they introduce me to their girlfriends or to their wives. I just don't want to be in a situation. I think that also this comes a part of maturity. There's no way as a friend of theirs that I would be disrespectful to their partner if I cared about them enough. Like I have the maturity to do that. Like, oh, let me meet so and so. Let me introduce myself. So if I'm on some other shit, then I can see why she would feel that way. I try to be a girl's girl. So you know what I mean? I don't want to be I would never put my friend in that situation. What type of friend are you if you putting that your friend in that situation anyway?
But then the trust thing, that's a big thing. A lot of times, like Amber was saying, if I don't trust you, then I'm making you cut people off. That's not healthy.
I
That
also
right there.
don't trust the people.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like I can maybe I trust you mostly, but I don't trust the people either. And so it's both sides. So that's where like the trust issues, it's not just in relationships. It comes from seeing things from your past, family members, just seeing shit. And it's just like it's so hard to trust people. So I will admit I have trust issues when it comes to stuff like that. And I will absolutely be the partner to be like, yeah, nah, you're gonna have to do something about that one.
Then
Maybe
it's a
I'm
matter
too
of intuition. What'd you say, Keish?
Maybe I'm too trusting. Maybe I'm too because it's never been done to me, and so I don't want it to happen to someone else. But I also don't want to be like cut off. Like I'd be like, absolutely not, and they wouldn't be with the person if they tried to cut me off. Like that's how close our friendship is.
But
Like
your situation's different than the
Yeah.
stuff I've seen or experienced before.
And then
That's
Keish, you said you a girl's girl. That plays a major role. And honestly, I harp on
sometimes it depends on the girl. Sometimes.
I harp on people tapping into their intuition. Like it's a chance that nobody comes around you, these girlfriends and wives, they don't catch a bad vibe for you or have a tinge in their gut that I think she might like my dude. But sometimes when you get that intuition about a person, you're not wrong. And it's like, nah, I don't trust it. It's not that I don't trust you, but my intuition is telling me something can go left.
I think intuition is partially tied to trust too, though, because your intuition is developed based on your perception of situations and you making those connections and stuff. So if you've made these connections, like people call it their gut feeling, yeah, but it's based off of things that you've experienced in the past too. So if your intuition is like, oh, old girl acting like this, I'm skeptical, like, I'm not going for that. That's trust issues too. You can call it intuition, gut feeling, whatever you want, but it's still trust issues.
Especially since it sometimes intuition is based through the lens of trauma. So, because you got trauma and you got issues, don't always mean I gotta live up under your trauma and your issues either, or your intuition.
See, I see intuition.
This conversation.
Oh, go ahead, Keish.
I was just gonna say this conversation actually came up on Twitter about how a girl had to basically cut her. She went, I don't know, she went to a concert where her boyfriend went and her man didn't like it. And so my question is this more of a trust issue thing or a control thing? Because if that's your boundary, then your boundary is for you. Like, I don't feel secure with this. It's time for us to separate versus I'm going to now make you get out of your friendship or with this person because I have insecurities. So is it trust or is it control?
Control and possessiveness. It can be either or.
And is it boundaries or is it a rule?
Right. Is it boundaries or is it a rule?
Good question.
I think it can be a little bit of both. So like, not to put too much out there, but my therapist threw this word out at me recently. She told me, "You are this." I ain't gonna tell y'all the word because I don't want y'all to know what my therapist think about me. But she gave me this book to read, and I was reading it, and I'm like, "Damn, this sounds like me." And at first, I completely disagreed. This is not me. I don't know what you're talking about. You lying. But really, it does have a lot to do with control too. Not controlling in a possessive way. It's more of like an anxiety type of controlling from me.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Possessive controlling. Yeah. But for me, it's more of like, okay, you're doing this thing. You've done irresponsible things in the past. And now I'm starting to get anxious that you're about to do something irresponsible again. So I need to control your behavior so I can control my emotions. And so that's very unhealthy. But it does tie to
who your therapist.
Hey, look, that's my girl. I ain't giving her away.
I need to control your behavior so I can control my emotions. My God.
Yeah. And when you talk about anxiety, that's what the hell it is. You're trying to control everybody else around you so you can be in control. And it's like, that's not, you got to learn how to do it yourself.
It's
so
not
that's what I'm working on.
Not your therapist reading you down, though.
She did read me, and she said that word. I was like, ma'am, what? I'm a psychologist. I know what that means, and that ain't me. She said, read the book. Just read the book first before you disagree. I was reading it over the weekend. I was like, God damn, she's right. That's me.
God. And that's how I feel about it. I feel like it's not up to you to control somebody else. I don't know where these people get off thinking that like you control me. That's why I'm so rebellious. Don't tell me what to do. And adults, full-grown human beings are not in a position to control other human beings. And if you have to be with somebody that you got to control, leave. Because you can't do that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of not being able to do that, I wonder what it is like to be with your boo and be with somebody and find your boo, find the right person for you. So I'm wondering, what do y'all think?
Let's get into it.
At the cookout, you know, we got just what you need. At the cookout, your heart and mind we will be.
This episode's main dish, we got a two-part question for y'all. What are the basics you're looking for when finding a partner or looking for a partner? And that the second half of the question is, what are you looking for concerning morals and values?
So one of the most basic things that I need to see in my woman is going to be being authentic, a genuine soul that I'm able to make that connection with. Because I think when folks got that mask on, it's hard for me to make the connection because I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna wear my heart on my sleeve if I'm really feeling you in that way. So I need that same energy from the woman that I want to be with. And then right after that is I need them to have a passion for something. It doesn't matter what it is, but to really dive into who they are and what they want out of themselves is going to be big because like we talked about earlier, right? They got to be able to do something or they got to be a little bit independent. And I think that if they have a passion for whatever it is, right? They could have a passion for their children. I'm okay as long as there's something that's there that's waking them up in the morning every day that they look forward to. And I think that the last thing is going to be integrity, honesty. I need, even if it's going to hurt my feelings, that you tell the truth. Because if I find out that you're not being honest, I'm going to lose. I'm not going to be able to look at you the same.
For me, consistency, ambition, and honesty. Obviously, it can be a lot more, but those are the three things that like I look for. You know, when you're consistent, like I know what I'm getting every day. Like honesty, being able to be vulnerable in those moments, being able just to communicate. I don't care how bad it might be, just share those things. And when you have those things all in one, it's a good feeling. Like, everyone wants to have that feeling like, hey, this is my partner. Like, we have these things like down to a science, but if something's lacking or one is not there, it's a different conversation. But as time goes on, you begin to know your partner more and more each day, but those three things for me, those stand out the most for me. And like what I look for, like what I need in a relationship, or if looking for a relationship.
For me, what Alfred said, I like what he said, passion. Like, you got to be driven nowadays, because like honestly, it takes two to like raise a household. You know what I mean? It takes two.
Yeah.
Some people might be like, oh nah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna just do my own thing, you do yours. But you got to work together as a team. So passion and being driven, and having both having your own goals individually, and which ultimately bring you both together. You know what I mean? And then for the second part of the question, like, what am I looking for? As far as morals and things like that, honesty is one of them. Honesty is everything, because if you don't have that, then you basically have nothing.
Thing that I would say that I would look for when searching to find a partner or whatever is, how do they view family? Is it important to them? And I thought about, I'm gonna quick story. When I met Rashonda, we were young, man, like 18. So I can't honestly say at 18 years old, I thought she would be who she is today. Like, I didn't know, like, she's going to be a doctor at 18. That's unrealistic. But when you start talking about what did she value, did she have, like one of y'all said, did she have her own goals? Did she have aspirations? Did she value family? That's important, because if she is going to be the one, then maybe one day we will have a family. But at 18, when you're young, I can't say. Maybe there was some signs that I would be who I am today at 18. Mm-hmm. Like, that was so far, so long ago, like, that you never know, like, who that person is going to be. Like, we in this thing now. We way past that. But I just say, I guess there are signs, because if you ask a woman, what does she look for in a male, they going to have a laundry list. Yeah. Specific stuff like there's not even morals and values. Like, you need to be 6'5", 250 pounds, all muscle, master's degree at least, and earning six figures if possible. So, like when you making these decisions, when you dating somebody at 18, it's like there might be some signs, but it ain't like. I don't think, because you're still young and living life, I don't know if you can realistically say, I knew she was going to be this at 18. Like, maybe you did. Maybe there are some hunches, but I would just say the family was the biggest thing, because you are potentially picking the mother of your kids. How does she treat, I guess, other family members? What's the relationship with her mom like? You know what I mean? So I guess there's certain patterns that you could try to look for, but those are mine. If that person is going to be the one, then I think males in general, like, we're a lot of us are a little bit older now, so we kind of know what we're looking for. But at 18, that response could be completely different.
I was hella shallow at 18. That's all I was looking for.
Yeah.
I was looking for fat asses.
Yes, she got a fat ass on one.
That's what I'm saying.
As I got older, though, I go, you know what? That shit don't matter. Yeah. Oh, that's
absolutely. Because now it's like, can you have a conversation? Do you have a 401k? Like, do you have life insurance? Like, do you have like the things I need to make it just in case you tap out early? But when you go from being a young man to, like, wanting all the physical piece. As you get older, you do realize, like, man, like, the physical piece is good, but it's like, is there more to that? Like, is it more? Like, is it a deeper dive than what you're showing?
Can I take you to a formal event where we got to wear tuxedos and ball gowns and you want to embarrass me at the table?
No, are you going to say the right words? Do you know English language?
Some of these guys that they go
You know
after
what I
these.
mean? Are you not speaking ebonics? Are you using ebonics? I don't know. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? Those type of things. Those things matter once we get older. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think what
never
we just
understood.
shared, I think balance is the key. Like balance.
Yeah.
Like, do you have balance? Can
Right.
you can you go in different rooms and like balance yourself out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
don't
true.
want the super hood rat one day. You gotta be able to switch it up. You gotta be able to switch it up, yo. Like, yo,
Yo.
don't embarrass me.
But we live in a world where we just look at the material things. Like
Yeah.
it's the
That's
materials.
it.
Like, oh, do you have a house? Oh, are you pushing the Lexus?
Yeah.
It's just the society is just more like the material world, and it shows. Like, this is why
Yeah.
society is just backwards, man. This is why it's
Yeah.
backwards now.
All right, y'all. So we about to talk about how to find your boo. So you are going to hear from the aunties on how to find your boo. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things, but I first wanted to start off with what are the basics? When you're looking for a partner, what are the basics?
Compatibility.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that is.
So,
Should.
do you work well with that person? Can you work well with that person? So, compatibility can be spiritual, mental. Are you guys on the same are you guys on the same plane? Emotional. Um, do you have the same morals and values? Will you raise your kids the same way? How do you think about relationships? Does she want to be a polygamist and you are somebody who wants to be monogamous? What are your differences that might split y'all up later? Everybody has fun in the beginning. Everybody's like, oh no, I can deal with that. I can deal with that.
Yeah, compatibility is all about, can you coexist together in a healthy way? Can you coexist together? Do you respect each other? Do you even if you do have differences, do you respect one another's differences? And one thing to point out is compatibility is not chemistry. Chemistry can cloud your judgment. You having a chemistry with somebody or feeling drawn to them, especially physically, has zero to do with compatibility.
Yeah. I would say sometimes compatibility can be difficult to get when you're over the internet. Social media is a huge thing now in relationships, and a lot of people are meeting each other, through their Facebooks, or even somebody may that you've not even met but went to school with before, and now they looking good. And now you're like, oh, I was interested in this person before, and now I'm connected to them through social media. Um, Getting with them has been a goal for you, and then when you meet them, may not be as compatible as you thought. And also, I also think that there's this thing where people are going to the internet now looking for relationship advice. So as you know, there has been past people who talked about being high value and low value, and now that's a big thing in these relationships now. But I think that personally, relationship people or your content creators and influencers do not have all the answers when it comes to relationships. And a lot of people are flocking to these influencers as if they are therapists or if they are these people who have all the answers, and they just don't. What works for you in your relationship will work for you. Um, I do think that there are some people who may drop some gems, some nuggets. Don't get me wrong. There are some people out there who've had plenty of experience, plenty of opportunity to work with couples who may have seen a variety of things. But to go to them as a sole person to tell you how to create or how to have a relationship, I just think that it needs to be a balance. There we go. Needs to be a balance because social media is driving it. A lot of these relationships right now, and a lot of men are getting frustrated with women who are asking for these expensive dates, and a lot of women are getting frustrated with men who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, they want to be leaders, but they're not leading. They're not asking them anything. And I just have to say, y'all gotta get past social media a little bit. It could be useful, but it should be a balance.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think because you did mention like the expensive dates, women, men. I think that our society is kind of like in this like in between of like the old school values. I don't want to say old school, but the values as far as like gender roles and relationships, and then like the newer developing ones. And we're kind of like shifting, but like we're in the middle. So you get a lot of people that are thinking this way, people that are thinking this way, and then we all come together and it's like, nah, this is not working. And then, you know, we start bashing the other genders and just kind of, so it's like, you know, there are people in society that have the same beliefs. You just have to find those people. And that's when it comes back to the values, morals, principles. What do you believe in? How do you think a relationship should work? If you think it should work one way and the other person thinks differently, that's not going to work. You have to find the people that have those same beliefs and values, because that's going to push your relationship forward rather than hinder it later on.
Right. I would like to add to the social media part that some of people be going after people that they know is not within their reach. And they get mad because it's like you want to get the girl that wants a $300 date and you skip right over the girl who wants the ice cream date. Now, to me, I'm all about go where you are celebrated and appreciated. And that goes for men and women. If you're going to try to get the girl who wants a $300 date and she's like, oh, no, you can't afford that. I don't want you to take your ass on. Don't need no reason to argue with that girl. She gonna be up there on her $300 dates because there is a dude out there who's gonna pay $300 to take her on a date. But if that's not you, play it, keep it moving. Period. Just keep it moving. Ain't no reason for you to tear nobody down because you can't afford that. That's just it.
Yeah. And you know what? Something else that's important before we even speak to how do you find your boo and compatibility, do you even know what you want? Because you saying you want $300 dates is one thing, but okay, you got those $300 dates. What else do you want? What else do you want that person to bring?
Right.
They don't be knowing. You're right. I'm sorry, but they don't.
Do you know what else you want? Do you want the guy that works all the, because them $300 dates probably mean he work a lot. So are you able to sacrifice time with him so he can keep affording those $300 dates? Like, what do you actually want? And I think the biggest thing when looking for compatibility is looking for honesty. If you cannot be honest with me about what you want, we already not compatible, because I'm gonna be honest with you about exactly what I want.
No, I was gonna drop a gem that Auntie Shug told me once. As far as like being honest and that in relationships. But she was asking me like, and this was not currently, this was, you know, in the past, but she was asking me like, why do you think that this person isn't honest with you? Why do you think this person feels like they can't tell you whatever? And it's not always on the other person. It can also be on you. So you have to know things about yourself in order to be in a relationship. Like, am I the type of person that's always reacting to something rather than responding to something, rather than thinking about it? If you're a very reactive person, you need to know that about yourself before you get in a relationship, and you need to communicate with your partner about that, because that's going to make somebody not want to be honest with you or spend time with you or even talk to you, and y'all going to be in a relationship just acting like that. So that's another piece. Also looking at yourself.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't found their boo because they're not self-aware. It
takes also a lot of people haven't found their boo because they set their sights higher than they really are. And people gonna get mad at me when I say it, but if you a nickel and you out here looking for a dime, then you wrong. If you know that you're not honest, why are you looking for somebody with honesty? If you know that you're not trustworthy, why are you looking to trust somebody hands down? If you know that you don't have any money, why are you looking for somebody rich who can take care of you? That's probably going to get old too. Why don't you meet yourself halfway? Because you're not looking for somebody to complete you. You're supposed to already be a whole person, a whole human being before you get into a relationship. You're looking for somebody to accent you, but not pull you up by your bootstraps or be your everything. And I think that's what people look for. They set their sights too high sometimes, looking for somebody to be their everything. And just because somebody has a whole bunch of money or they drive Maserati or whatever, doesn't mean that they're for you. That's what they got. So what are you going to bring to the table?
Yep. Another man.
You take 3 steps forward and 4 steps back.
I only said it because an influencer said that. And she was like, quit asking me what I'm bringing to the table. It's going to be another man.
Was it sprinkle? It was sprinkle.
It was her.
It was sprinkle. It sounded like it.
But is that the one y'all told us about?
Sprinkle. And she said, Lord. Stop asking me what I'm bringing to the table. It's going to be another man.
I don't see nothing wrong. I don't think that you should that you should be like, oh, you know what? Let's sit down and talk about what you're bringing to the table. Because guess what? I'm bringing the table. He's bringing the table. Now we gonna have two tables. We about to wash each other's hands. I'm not about to just be like, I don't know. I just never look for somebody to complete me or to make me whole. Like, because I always knew I was going to go get it myself. Because whenever you let people give and give and give to you, they can easily just take it away from you. And that might be my trauma. I don't allow people to give me everything because the minute you decide to take everything, now I'm left out here pole mouthed and looking stupid.
Pole mouthed. What the
Pole mouthed. And yes, that is a trauma response. You find it very difficult to let somebody just take care of you. Yes, it is, but that's okay.
You know, it's
my grandma said you're gonna be looking pole mouthed.
What's so funny is that Suge dropped another gem on me that I didn't realize until she asked me the question. And she said, "Are you looking at this person through this lens of trauma because of what you've been through?" And I was like, "I'm sorry."
she be reading us. Suge be reading. If you got some problems, Suge is the one to call because she ain't your yes man. She gonna read the hell out of you.
Yeah, like, that was the question I didn't think about because of my experiences with a certain person, and I had already categorized that person without even going forward and trying to give it at least a chance. Now, obviously, he was trash because that was afterwards we found out, but it was a great question to ask myself, like, okay, am I not giving this person a chance because of what I've seen before? And I should automatically put them in a category without even giving some wiggle room. And so I thought that, okay, I can give some wiggle room at least and see and let this person prove themselves before I categorize them. So I just thought that was fair.
Another good question to ask you. What'd you say, Suge?
I be insightful. I don't be knowing when I be sitting.
I only call Suge with marriage related issues. I only call Suge with marriage related issues, personal issues, when I know I can handle whatever she about to say, because she will piss me clean off. If I'm not prepared. Clean off. I'll be like, now why you putting this on me? It ain't my fault.
But sometimes it do be our fault, and she don't want to tell you that.
Which leads me to another question for people to ask themselves when trying to find their boo. Ask yourself, would I date me? Would I date me?
Right.
Can I tolerate me? Would I be able to tolerate a person exactly like me?
No, and that's why I don't date me.
That's exactly. Amber says that all the time. Like, that's why I can't say he's me.
I don't want two of me. I don't. But I think what Auntie Sugar is saying, that like accenting you or supplementing, right? Just like what I don't do, you do. And what you do, I don't do. Like my husband is real free flowing, fly by the seat of his pants. Like this, he will think of something and then, oh, I'm going to do it. Me, I'm like, hold up, we got to plan this, and this before we get to that thing. And so it's like leveling us out. He don't make impulsive decisions because I plan it, but we do things. We do fun things because he has the thought, like, I got to do it. So it's like that balance. But I wouldn't date nobody. I wouldn't date me. Nope. I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, stop planning stuff.
So then that means we shouldn't be, compatibility does not mean that the person needs to be just like you. Sometimes they need to balance you out. Sometimes they got to have opposites of you, and that's okay.
When you get into couples therapy, right? Think about the couples therapy. I do a lot of couples therapy. The first thing you talk about is like your compatibility. Like, are you guys willing to work through issues? How do you work through issues? How do you plan on like fighting through whenever stuff goes down? That's a part of compatibility too, because some people give up. Some people communicate better. If I did not communicate this well, we would not be married today. My husband does not communicate like me at all. And I'm telling you, like we wouldn't be. So like in that area, he's weak. But in that area, I'm strong. But to plan things, I'm Marcus. I'm jumping into whatever it is head first, and I'm gonna come up for air. I just hop in stuff, and then I'm gonna come up for air and think about it later on. So he's giving me that. Maybe you should think it through, fool, before you just start doing stuff. And so like he is the yin to my yang. Like he ends up making me better. Honestly, I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together.
We're together.
Yeah. Oh. No, but I do want to add to that. I do think like there are some things that are opposite, that supplement, but I do think values, that's the only thing that cannot be completely opposite. Like, so I think the question is more, would I date someone with my values? Because if you have the same values, regardless of what's opposite about you, like it's like the end goal or like your life goal, life is the same for both of you. You view life through that lens. But if you have different values, you are never going to come together. Like it's just not going to be a thing. That's right with compatibility.
I think
agree.
it'll be. Oh, go ahead, Keish.
The only reason why I agree is because traditionally I'm not a traditional woman. I'm not cooking and cleaning. Me and my homegirl had that conversation. She's like, Keisha, you mean you wouldn't, if he cooks, you're not gonna clean up the dishes? No. And she just couldn't believe that. And I was like, I'm just not doing it. If you're not asking me to do it, just not gonna do it. Maybe if I live with you, I might. But I'm not the cook. I'm not the person in the kitchen. I'm just not. That's just not where my strength is at. And so when I say that to people, they're just like, oh, you're not gonna cook, you're not gonna do this. I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with being a teammate. There's nothing wrong with doing it together. I don't have no problem doing that. But if I don't want to cook, that's just not who I am. I'm not even gonna think about going into the kitchen. So I do think that value systems do play a part of that, because if a man sees me as a traditional woman and I don't do none of that, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna get there, because I'm not gonna be cooking and cleaning. I ain't no man. I can't do it. No, I'm not. I'm just not.
But sometimes you gotta adjust your values, because one thing that was happening to me is I was drowning trying to be the perfect wife and mother, cook, and everything. And it ended up taking a toll on my mental health. And so a therapist was like, well, why don't, if she cooked, you wash the dishes? Like, all things can't be on one person. So why don't, you ain't got to cook, but your ass ate. So, and once he started doing that, I think I felt like, okay, it was just less, it was less overwhelming, because it was like, now I don't have to think of all these things. It just takes one less thing off my plate. That's how I thought about it. I'm not trying to make you cook or clean, but that's one thing that actually saved us, because it was like, I can't be everything in that area. But some men are traditional and they think this is how it's supposed to be. But so some values have to be adjusted if we're gonna make it.
But did Abe think of you as a teammate though?
Abe had very traditional male values.
Shut up, really?
So he shifted his values.
So
he saw it from a different perspective. Like he was able to.
That's a different perspective.
Yeah.
Very different.
And I mean, value. This is why it's important. Couples don't think about this, because we think very individualistic when we're looking for a partner and trying to find our boo. But it is really important to see, how does this person's family operate? How did their parents operate? How do they see arguments? Can they handle disagreements, or does that make them anxious because they grew up in a chaotic home? Like, you really do want to assess, if you're talking about being serious, the values that somebody took from their own family. Like, what did you see your daddy and your mama do? Like, how do you think that that's supposed to be in our relationship? And cultural values play a role too, because it is certain cultures where women do all those things and it is expected, and that is it. Ain't no, I'm not doing it. It's expected. So you have to ask yourself, can I be with this person who from a cultural background like that if I'm not willing to shift? And if you're not, y'all not compatible. It's okay to not be compatible.
I think people can shift for the right person. That's the only way I'm shifting, is if I feel in my heart this is somebody that would have my back and I know, would do right by me. I'm just not doing that for anybody and any man.
Right.
I'm just not doing that. I'm not.
Yep.
Just like I don't expect every man to pay my bills. I don't expect every man to do that. That I think that's selfish to do that. Is it okay that he do it? Yes. I'm not gonna stop him. But I'm not. That's not an expectation.
Listen, it's important to know what you want. So before even trying to find your boo, become self-aware. Figure out who you are. Figure out what it is you want. Figure out what you don't want. That's important too. What don't you want? What aren't you willing? What are your hard limits? This is what I'm not willing to deal with or put up with. You have to know that, because otherwise you'll never know if you are truly compatible with a person. Have a values discussion. Talk about your past. This is how you find out if this is the right person for you. You have to be honest. You have to have a level of humility, and you have to be willing to show grace, compassion, forgiveness. All these things fall into compatibility. And if you're not ready for that, continue to casually date. You're not looking for a permanent boo at this point. But when you're ready for that permanent, I'm trying to settle down, you got to be ready for some serious stuff.
And ask yourself while you're casually dating, what if I got pregnant by this person? Would I want to raise kids with this person?
That's a whole different topic.
What if my kid turned out just like this person? Should you date like that? That's a real thing. If I have a son and he acts like this, is that somebody I want to date? Is that a child I want to create? That's how I date. That's how I would date if I was gonna do it.
Or you could just protect yourself and know that there are viable options out there if something does happen.
And get pregnant anyway, because condoms is only 90%.
Why is you making people's anxiety go up right now? For the people that are using condoms, keep using condoms. Don't listen to Auntie Shug.
Get all the condoms.
You're gonna be out here looking pole-mouthed when you don't ever have sex, just because Auntie Shug said the condom is 90%.
Get the condoms. Get the dental dam. Get all of it. Get all of it because Rashad
dental dam. We're not talking about talking dental dam in 2023.
I think you said that was the 1980s.
It exists. Yeah. It still exists.
All right, y'all. We hope y'all learned a little bit about finding your boo. If y'all have any questions, y'all know y'all can hit up the aunties, but leave your comments below. Let us know what y'all think. Or if there's anything that we missed that we didn't talk about, let us know. All right.
You know you need it. It's kind of scary.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it. Welcome back to the Clinical Cookout. It's our 3rd season. Hey.
Wow. Really? I'm recording. You just coming in here talking? That's what we doing?
So I'll start. I'm gonna say intelligence, right? To me, that's like a 4 or 5 thing, right? Because like you don't want to be dating an airhead, man.
Hey Marcus, I think they meant like
emotional intelligence, like
self-awareness. So emotional intelligence.
I thought they meant like intelligence. Okay, well, guess I'm an idiot then.
He's such a rule follower. He was like, that's not what they meant. He could have just went with that and just went with intelligence.
But if we can have a good time, we 50% there with me. Draws halfway down.
Oh my God. All right, y'all. So make sure.
They laughing around and you laugh right out your draw. What? Laugh clean out your draw.
Let's first talk about our hot sauce. Do you cut friends off breaking up?
No, it just didn't sound right.
It didn't feel right at all.
Okay, well, y'all make it feel right, because that's all I got.
I feel like you're not being yourself with it.
That's exactly who I'm being. See, I'm myself, y'all don't like.
What?
I don't trust these dudes.
Yeah,
Hey, what he do, girl? What he do? He said he did what last night? Oh man, don't take that.
I'm coming through and I'm shanking everybody. Yo.
Hey, niggas is like snake and tall grass. They waiting to attack that ass.
Okay, 20 minutes. Go.
Somebody introduce it? I just told y'all what we missed.
What? Pregnant?
If you had this person and you had to have a kid with this person, is this who you want to be tied to?
No, I'm busting it wide open. I'm not closing the leg. I'm not like,
Nobody told you to be abstinent. Why are you hit? And I look at my past, I'll be like, dang, what if I got pregnant by him?
Me too. Oh my God.
Somebody like that, like, God.
Oh. It would be a hard knock life for me.
Another one would be let's see. All right, I don't have another one. All right. Hey, your turn.
That's cool.
Hey, don't worry about it. She gonna cut it. All right. She gonna cut that one out. Hey, let's go. Your turn. All right.
Like mentally, I can't even understand some of these dudes going after 18-year-olds. I'm like, folks, what? Like,
yeah.
It ain't for the conversation. It ain't
No,
for the
yeah.
conversation. It ain't for none of that stuff that we talked about.
You try to fold them up like lunch heads.
It does.
Fold them up. Fold them up like clams outside. You hear me?
I bet it's easier too. You ain't even gotta try too hard. What you gotta do?
Hey,
you got a whole bunch of shit that they like, what? You got what? You ain't gotta do too much.
Y'all making me hot, yo. I gotta cool off, man.